All right, so we're at the Sandy Springs Invitational Car Show, powered by Caffeine Octane. Before we get to the next guest, I mean, guys, just take a look at some of the most insane cars you've ever seen in this walkthrough. All right, so we're going to take a look at some of these amazing machines that some of our guys have brought out today. Look at this, yellow CGT, probably not that many really in existence. Just to see one here is pretty incredible. And then we've got it positioned between, we've got a LaFerrari next to it. We've got a Oro Elios, I think I said that correctly, a Ventador SVJ, just an incredible lineup here. We're going to walk through some of these cars, talk to some of the owners. We'll get up close and personal with some of the vehicles as well. So right here, this is the Valhalla that Adam and his father have spec'd, built. I mean, just the right amount of green on this car. You've got carbon A-pillars, carbon roof, carbon mirror arms on this thing, carbon rear wing. And again, you know, you get the side skirts down here, green accents with the carbon fiber. The interior, as he had mentioned, you've got some of that British racing, I guess it's a British racing green, some variant of that on some of the switches in there. So just great attention to detail. Look at this, we've got a purple Mosler, pretty incredible. I think this car was in pieces when it was found in its original state and completely redone, if I remember correctly. One of the greatest sounding V12 Ferrari engines, great daily driver, just a lot of comfort, a lot of power, kind of the E90 series M3, and then this is just, you don't see this every day. I mean, this is just absolutely stunning. This is Ryan Hardwick's Ferrari SP3 Daytona. I mean, just almost unreal, really. I mean, this kind of vehicle, seeing this here at the show today. This is the Koenigsegg Regera. Atik, how are you, sir? You're on Caffeine and Octane right now, just showcasing this car. Just an amazing car. Yeah, look at this. I mean, just tons of detail everywhere you look. Can you give us a brief, kind of quick?
This is the Koenigsegg Regera. We went to Geneva back in 2015 when the car was getting launched. And we saw the vehicle there, not this one, obviously the initial model, and then obviously worked with the factory and received the car back in 2020 in our wonderful state of Georgia. So this was our first Koenigsegg. I love to say that now because back then, obviously, we didn't have any other Koenigsegg's, and now luckily we have more than one or two.
Yeah, we've got a few more now.
Yes, God bless. About this car, it took us about, like I said, 5 years to configure the car, make the car, color, spec. All the lines you see, I sat with our factory, with Christian and the rest of the team, and we designed all the lovely stuff. The paint is 101, the color scheme, everything that you're seeing, there's no Regera like this. Well, they're very limited anyway. So.
Yeah.
But I'm glad we had this in Georgia, and I'm happy to share it with our community.
Yeah, and so this is the name of the car right here?
That's right. Thank you so much. The answer is yes. It's in Swedish called Kejsare, which means an emperor. I designed the logo itself as well. And as you can see, it's got the funky Koenigsegg stuff going on with it and all that.
Oh, that's incredible. Yeah, just an amazing car. Thanks for sharing it with us today.
You're welcome, guys. Thank you so much.
All right, we're going to make our way down here in just a moment. Yeah, this is definitely one of these cars that I think we're maybe starting to see these creep up in value. Of course, we've got Manny Koshbin out in California who has betted on himself with these cars, buying 5 or 6 of these, hoping that they do go up in value. And then this is one that I personally sold along the way. Owner's Alex. Beautiful graphite Turbo S. Now this is truly amazing to see here. Porsche Singer. These are built out in California, all hand built, tons of carbon fiber, just beautiful execution. I remember years ago watching the documentary on these cars, and even down to the wheel fitment and the type of tires that they use, everything is purposeful. Just incredible. Basket weave leather interior on this thing. You know, you've got your fuel filler cap right there in the middle of the hood, or bonnet rather. I mean, just all of this finish work right here, just absolutely stunning. And then right behind me here, this is the Lambo, or I guess you would say Rambo Lambo, the LM002. Just never see these in person whatsoever. Just incredible. We're going to get our next guest on here. We'll see you guys here soon. All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Caffeine and Octane Podcast. This show is brought to you by Ride Lounge, Atlanta's fastest-growing vehicle storage and social club, located in Peachtree Corners, with 2 more on the way, including both Milton and Midtown Atlanta. So super exciting stuff. I'm your host, Grant Van Brewer. Over the years, I've worked for companies like McLaren, Porsche, BMW, and others. We're recording live today at Sandy Springs Invitational Car Show, powered by Caffeine and Octane. My next guest is a 2025 FIA World Endurance Champion, a 24 Hours of Le Mans winner, Rolex 24 Daytona winner, and 12 Hours of Sebring winner, co-founder of Mountain Motorsports, and first Phorm athlete. Please welcome Ryan Hardwick. Thanks so much for coming on, man.
Man, thanks for having me, Grant. Glad to be here.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. So quick intro for the audience that maybe doesn't know you. Who is Ryan Hardwick, and, you know, kind of what's going on right now in your world?
Yeah, Ryan Hardwick. I'm a local guy here in Atlanta. I've lived here for about 20 years, and I grew up in East Tennessee, and really been, you know, kind of a car enthusiast since I was a super young, you know, guy. My dad was into cars and also into motorcycles. I grew up riding dirt bikes with my dad and my best friend, and so most of my childhood was on two wheels, and also enjoying cars and going watching racing. My grandfather actually was a mechanic and owned a round track car, and he did a lot of his car did a lot of racing in North Georgia, also in Florida, and he actually did some work with NASCAR. He was a mechanic on a NASCAR team a long time ago. So racing has kind of been a part of my family, you know, ever since my grandfather. And yeah, I spent most of my life racing something, you know, racing dirt bikes. My teenage years, I raced jet skis for a long time, and really enjoyed that sport. It was the first racing sport I went professional in. And followed that passion to get into the business. I had started a business with my best friend, Justin Price, when we were 20 years old in East Tennessee, and we got into the motorcycle dealership business. We opened a motorcycle dealership with a partner when we were 20 in our hometown in East Tennessee, and that business really grew. We still own that business together. We've grown to be the second largest retailer of motorcycles, jet skis, and power sports in the country. And we have 12 dealerships open now, spread across Tennessee, here in Atlanta, and also Alabama. We got our 13th on the way, coming later this year.
That's awesome.
And so we turned our passion, you know, into a business, and still, you know, love that business. Today it's still growing. And then also, you know, I kind of followed in my grandfather's footsteps into racing cars about 10 years ago now. 10 years ago, I started out on a journey of car racing, and started with just, wanted to do it for fun and wanted to do it at an amateur level. And, one thing led to another, and, became quite successful in it, and been able to have a great career, kind of second career in racing cars the last 10 years, and been able to race all around the world and drive with some great co-drivers and some great teams and manufacturers. And the last decade, I'm part-time entrepreneur, part-time dad, raising a family here in Atlanta. I've got two great sons, my wife of over 20 years, and then also part-time race car driver.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, it's seen you guys evolve and grow over the years, just from the little, I say the little dealership in Kodak, but the first dealership in Kodak till now is just incredible. And then obviously your racing career, just, I know.
Yeah, we met way back in East Tennessee.
That's right,
probably
yeah.
20-ish years ago.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Absolutely. Yep. And then, you're one of the owners of Mountain Motorsports. In one sentence, how can you describe Mountain Motorsports? What's the biggest differentiator for you guys compared to some of the other power sports dealers out there?
Yeah, I would say that we have done a really exceptional job of combining size, scale, and selection, all within a really kind of unique themed environment. So our dealerships are each, quite large in physical size, and we have a lot of brands and a lot of choices for our customers inside each one. That didn't come easy. Most dealerships out there, they have kind of limited choices. They have one or two manufacturers, and so, when you would go to those stores, they tell you that those one or two brands are the best, right? And we, we're just, Justin and I are very passionate. We knew that, man, sometimes, these, whether it's a motorcycle or a jet ski or an ATV, they're all quite different and unique. And so we just tried to build dealerships that gave our customers, lots of choices, basically all of the brands under one roof. And we wanted to do it in a really fun and unique environment that has a lot of theming. So a lot of our stores are, they're fun businesses to go to, even if you're just hanging out. You're not buying anything. You just want a cool place to come and hang out.
It's an experience.
They're a lot of fun. So we're really proud of it. But I guess that was more than one sentence. You told me to do it in one sentence.
Okay. Yeah, we'll accept that answer. Well, obviously we're here at this show. I mean, a very curated selection out here. I mean, we've got supercars, hypercars, you name it. What did you bring here today, and why that car for this show?
Yeah, man, this is an awesome show, man. It's a really cool deal that Caffeine Octane started a while back to support our local police department here in Sandy Springs. So it's for a great cause, and there's a lot of special cars here. I brought one of my favorite cars. It's a Ferrari Daytona SP3. It's probably the most valuable car that I own, and man, it's special. It's the only one in the state of Georgia. There are very few in the country, and a lot of people like the car for the same reason that I do. It is as of what we know now, it seems to be the last naturally aspirated V12 car, mid-engine, supercar that Ferrari will make. They've continued to innovate. They make really fast cars, and their newest cars are all V6 turbo hybrid cars, including their latest supercar. And while they're very fast and they do quick lap times and all of that, it's not quite the same emotion from what true Ferrari enthusiasts grown to love, which is the big V12 engine.
That's right.
So it's a beautiful car. It has a lot of racing history. It's my favorite car that Ferrari's ever made. One of my favorite cars of all time, and that's what I brought today.
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, the two guests we had on prior to you, the last question was, "What's your favorite car of the show?" Both answered the SP3. So you got the crowd favorite. It seems like
a lot of people like it.
Yeah. So you spent a lot of time in the racing career, from Lamborghini to Le Mans. How did competitive car racing even start for someone running a major business? I mean, I know that's got to be a lot to juggle. You mentioned, you're also a dad, you're a husband, it's a lot to carry. I mean, how did that all, start for the racing stuff?
It started the same for me as what a lot of guys that want to get into car racing. It's why the sport's so cool. You can come to this sport later in life, and a lot of people do it. There's all types of levels of car racing. It starts at very amateur, levels. You do have to go and get a license to compete, and so that weeds out. You actually do have to have some skill, and a lot of people try to get their license and don't get it. It's not easy to do, but if you dedicate yourself to it and you can learn, it's a sport that you can learn. So that's how I started. I mean, I was 35 when I got my first, license. And, man, I waited to a point in time in my business and family career that I could really dedicate a lot of time to it, because I was humbled, man. The first time I got on track, and, again, I've been a racer my whole life. I thought, man, I'll probably be pretty good at this. I'm a quick guy. And, bro, my first time, there was a professional driver there doing the course I was taking, and I drove for a while, and I thought, man, I'm getting pretty fast. I'm getting good. And the professional driver, my instructor, he said, "Hey, Ryan, why don't we swap seats?" The race car had a passenger seat in it, and he said, "Let me drive a few laps. I want you to see a few things." And I was immediately humbled. I was like, "Oh wow, I have a lot of work to do." There's a whole nother level of commitment and grip and understanding of the car and balance, and so I was hooked. And I can say, for the last 10 years, it's kind of been a primary focus of mine. I mean, I've been very fortunate in business to have an unbelievable partners, and my co-founder at Mountain Motorsports, Justin, he really took the reins of the business, day to day for the last 10 years, kind of allowed me the time to go pursue this dream. And the thing in racing, you start as an amateur, you enter amateur racing series, but once you start doing good in any specific level, they kind of kick you out. Like if you win a championship at an amateur level, they kind of push you on up to the next level because they want to keep that amateur series good for new people to come to the sport. And so I just kind of rose through the ranks of the amateur, racing series here in North America, and I got a shot at racing in the top level here. It took me about 4 years. I raced kind of amateur for 4 years, and then I got a shot to race in the IMSA WeatherTech Championship Series, and I got humbled there again. I got to go race with the real big boys and the factory guys and all that. And again, I thought I was a pretty hotshot amateur, but there's a big difference from amateur to pro. But I adapted and I evolved, and that was in 2019, and then I'd say the last 5 years have all been racing at the professional level. Started with Lamborghini, spent 1 year with Ford, but most of my time's been with Porsche.
Yeah, and in those early years, I remember I was actually at the Lamborghini store when you decided to go race these Super Trofeo cars for Lamborghini. What did those years teach you about the sport?
Yeah, a lot. That was, Lamborghini offers a single make series where they can take, straight beginners. You can be your first year racing, and there's different categories of drivers that with more experience, but you're all driving the same exact car. So, like, I started as a very entry level guy in the smallest class, and you're going against professional drivers, and they're you can see you're on the track with them. They're so much faster, and they're in the same car you're in. So there's no excuse of like, oh, he's got better engine or better tires. Everybody's the same. And man, I learned a lot in that series. I did that for 3 years, and my last year I won the national championship here in North America, and also they have a world championship where you compete against the best drivers from Europe and Asia. And I won it at the amateur level.
That's
And
awesome.
that was, then I knew, and I got to where I could run the pace of the pros. I was like, they were a bit more consistent than me, but I could do it.
You could weasel your way in there a little bit.
Yeah. And that winning those 2 titles are what opened the doors to take the next step.
Yeah, and then going on to that next level, I think it was in 2021, you actually got injured in practice at the Rolex 24.
Yeah.
You watched it from the hospital bed across the street. How did you come back from that?
Yeah, when you start pushing the limits, right? Sometimes to find the limit, you gotta step over it. And so, I made a big mistake in practice. It happened when, like for most people, the lap before I was super fast. I was P1 and I was pushing the limit, right? I was trying to see where it was, and I crashed in the section in Daytona called the bus stop, and it's one of the fastest little connection of corners in the country that we have. And I lost the car and went head on into a concrete wall and missed the kind of soft wall barrier by like 10 feet and hit the concrete. And the hit was so hard, I knocked myself out. I actually got a concussion, and more than a concussion, found out when I was out cold. They took me to the hospital, and I had a brain bleed, I had a traumatic brain injury. I hit the wall so hard. I had a helmet and all the protective gear on, but the doctors told me my brain actually shifted in my skull, and my brain, hit my skull so
from
hard
all that
that
G-force
from the impact, and so I had a brain bleed, and so I was out of racing for about 6 months, and I couldn't be in the car. And man, thankfully here in Atlanta, I was with the Shepherd Center, their concussion clinic, and an unbelievable set of doctors. And
absolutely.
And they helped me. They work with a lot of professional athletes. A lot of our military. that have these brain injuries. And man, we were working on reaction time things, and it took 6 months, but I was able to get back into a car, and wanted to. I knew I had what it took to to win these big races. And man, the very next year. Stayed with Porsche. We came back to Daytona, the same place, where I had the injury, and we won the race that year. Yeah.
What did that feel like after everything you had been through up to that point?
I mean, it's just the most gratifying thing, like from competition in my life, right?
Yeah.
From being injured at that same spot and going through that same corner, for 24 hours straight, and then ultimately being, up front and to win the race. I mean, these races, these 24-hour endurance races, they are so hard to win. I mean, I can't, explain how difficult and how so many things have to go right outside of even you, one person as a driver. I'm one of 3 drivers. I have 2 other teammates that are in the car. I could drive like my most perfect, race, but if one of my teammates has an issue, we're out. Or all the mechanics, all the engineers. There's so many people in racing that make that one car go round and round, and everyone has to be perfect.
Yeah.
You can't mess up anything, and so for it all to go perfect is rare. Usually something is less than perfect, right?
Yeah.
But I've been fortunate enough to win several of these big races, and it's really special. It's not common.
Yeah, and then let's talk about Le Mans, the 2025 FIA Endurance World Champion, Daytona, Sebring, the Triple Crown. I mean, did you ever think any of that was possible?
Never. I mean, I'm a goal-oriented person. Always knew I would have some success, but no, I never set out to say like, man, I'm going to go win the 24 Hours of Le Mans. As you advance, though, the goalpost shifts. I will say when I won Daytona, I was like, oh man, it'd be really cool if one day you could win Le Mans, but you go into it with a hope, and. But yeah, no, I never thought. I think I became the 11th American driver in history to win Sebring, Daytona, and Le Mans.
It's incredible.
There are only 10 other guys from America that have done it, and then And then we went on to win the World Championship last year, the FIA World Endurance Championship. And I became only the third driver to do that, third American driver. Only two other Americans have done it before me, so I became the third. So yeah, I'm in a small group, and it's that I would have never looked back when I was starting, doing the amateur stuff to think, could have been there. But yeah, I've been truly fortunate to be a part of some really great teams. Currently part of Manthey, Porsche. It's their kind of factory, top level effort, all based out of Germany, and get a hand a little bit and help them develop some of the road car things.
That's awesome.
Like their kits that go on the GT3s and GT4s, and man, they're racing. I mean, I put their team up against the best in the world, and it's really, really cool to just be a part of an organization like that is truly professional from top to bottom.
That's incredible. And yeah, I mean, you've got just one heck of a sponsor. Phorm, I mean, they're absolutely huge. Obviously, I'm in fitness. I know who they are, but even people that aren't, they know the logo. I mean, on your hat, on your hoodie there. That blue car is synonymous with your name now. What's the Phorm relationship? What's that meant to you?
Man, it's just been unbelievable. And honestly, all of my racing, it wouldn't have been possible without Andy Frisella and Phorm. Andy's the founder of Phorm, co-founder. And man, Andy and I met through cars. We had a mutual car guy that, this was about 10 years ago, about when I started car racing. This guy said, "Hey, Ryan, you should meet my friend Andy, and Andy, you should meet Ryan. You guys are both into cars. You're into business, and you're about the same age. I think you guys would like each other." And he connected us, and we just became car friends, on the internet, and just talking about cars and meeting cars. I went out to St. Louis and met with him, toured their facility there at Phorm, and was blown away.
It's incredible.
And this was long ago. They've really, really grown, the last decade. And as I started growing in cars, I said, "Hey, Andy, I don't know if it makes sense, but I think." Man, I think this could be a good fit with Phorm about just endurance and the athletic aspect and all of the training, all the things that not only the driver but all the mechanics and what everyone goes through. It's actually quite a physical sport, and he thought it was great. He's like, man, and having Phorm on a race car, and so together, Andy and Phorm have been with me for every major victory I've had through every year, every win. And Andy, man, if you don't know or follow Andy Frisella, do yourself a favor. I mean, this guy, he's one of the even outside of fitness and their business, as just a personal development and leadership coaching and motivation. I mean, Andy's one of his podcasts, one of the larger ones in the world, and so he was so influential to me because he believed that this type of success was going to be possible for us in racing way before I did. I mean, he was telling me, as soon as we won Daytona, his first, as we won, and I'm texting dude, we did it, we won Daytona. His first text back to me is we are going to win Le Mans. And I'm like,
I love it.
I'm like, bro, can we just enjoy this one, right? We just won, arguably the biggest race here in the country, outside of the Daytona 500. Bro, he's like, yeah, no, it's awesome, but now we have to go to Le Mans, and I'm like, man, dude, that's going to be hard, He
has such a winning spirit about him,
Yeah, so, he's been great. Yeah, I can't say enough about him. Couldn't be where I'm at, without him and Phorm. And now, man, I tell you what, that company's grown so fast. I'm so happy to be a part of it. We actually have a new partnership with Dana White, is actually a co-investor.
That's right.
With us with the energy drink. Phorm's built around supplements and health, products, vitamins, and everything you need to have to live a healthy lifestyle, and we help people change their lives, whether it's getting stronger, losing weight. We have something to help them. But we started into the energy drink business with obviously a very clean, no sugar, low calorie energy drink, and Dana White's our partner with
That's
that.
Amazing.
So I've gotten to meet and know Dana over the last few years, and so, man, let me tell you, being in a room with Dana and Andy is two firepower personalities, and I would have never thought that I would be able to even have conversations with guys like that, 10 years ago and stuff. So being a part of Phorm, being friends with Andy's really been a true blessing.
I bet it. I mean, just no losing, no quit mentality, both of those guys.
0.
I'm sure you share the same sentiment.
Yep.
We'll switch gears a little bit on the street side of things, the Porsche chapter, obviously some Lamborghini stuff from the past, but when I landed at a Porsche store, I mean, you were quickly on the list there. I mean, that chapter developed. I guess you were at another store, and naturally I moved from exotics into Porsche, and you said, hey, man, I've got this special deal we could do with motorsports, and how did that chapter all develop? I mean, we did a few cars before I left and came on the outside of this, but Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, my Porsche experience, a lot has helped with racing, right?
Yeah.
And stuff. As we all know, man, Porsche collector cars they're tough, man, to get the allocations and things. It's no lie about it, man. It's just the cars are, just I would say Porsche and Ferrari, I would say, are the two brands in all of automotive that have the most passion behind them.
Yeah.
And the customers continue to just keep coming back and back to buy almost every product they make, and so it's tough to get there. And I would say racing definitely helped. Having good relationships, the guys like yourself and the dealers, helps. But man, the cars, the product itself, I mean, if you can experience them, I mean, gosh, Porsche's, the 911 and GT4, it's hard to say there's which one's better or whatnot. But what's great about the 911, it's basically the same kind of formula since the 70s.
They haven't really changed the DNA.
I know, it's still the kind of the same thing where a lot of these cars, look at Corvette, the engine goes from the front to the back, and and V8, and Porsches just, they keep building flat six, rear engine cars, and they continue to do well. So if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah. So we'll go over some of the rest of the collection, and we'll end with some rapid fire closing here. One of the greatest little private events I've ever been to was the Bugatti Chiron Super Sport unveiling. Really appreciate you inviting me out to that. What was that experience like? Walk me through that process just briefly.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, it was about a year process, and as you can imagine with Bugatti, everything's first class. So their model renderings and stuff. Here's your spitballing ideas of, well, could we change that? Could you change that? They didn't ever. There wasn't a question they answered no to. If you can dream it, if you can think it up, they'll do it.
They'll tell you how much it is.
They will charge you. They will charge you for it. But it was a great experience. Only one thing I regretted. They gave us opportunity to come to France to see the car in person, while I was going together. I had a race during that. They had a window because your car would advance, and it's only going to be in this certain stage for this a week's window, and I had to be racing that week. So I wish I could have done that, but the whole experience was awesome.
Oh, I bet. I'm sure owning that car and driving it is just surreal. And then another recent acquisition, you had the Aston Martin Valkyrie.
Yeah.
What is that thing like to drive? It's just mental.
Yeah, it's crazy. I have no idea how that's a street legal car, but it is a full on prototype, for the street, and it's everything you would imagine it to be. It's raw. It's very loud. It's very hard to get into. It's very hard to get out of. You definitely need to be a flexible, limber person. Yeah. But man, driving it, I've driven a lot of cars. I mean, there is nothing like it.
Probably better than some race cars, I'm sure.
A lot better. I mean, a lot more grip than many race cars I've driven. Yeah. So it's truly a unique car. I don't think there'll be another car quite like that one. I'll be very surprised if anyone else. I think it takes a kind of a smaller company like Aston Martin to just get something like that to life.
Yeah, and then more recently, the Mines R34 GTR. What an incredible car for for guys like us, but also the youth growing up. They've seen it in the movies. Yep. I mean, tell us a little bit about that one.
Man, I'm like you, growing up in the '90s. That was the car we couldn't have, right? They were only in Japan, couldn't import them, and so it was one of those target cars of mine. I'm like, one day if I ever could, man, I want to. Yeah. And this company called Built by Legends, that's kind of a group of different companies and people in Japan, kind of the best that they found from each kind of area of expertise on the car. They all came together to build the ultimate R34 GTR. And so Mines handles all the powertrain and drivetrain. Garage Yoshida handles all of the carbon fiber and paint and body and chassis work. And it is the ending, product is just like a perfect,
The chassis work alone is just insane.
They worked on the chassis for well over a year, just the bare chassis, perfecting it, strengthening it. There's some weaker parts. Again, it's 1990s technology, so just upgrading and strengthening the chassis. And man, the finished product, it literally is a 25-year-old car that is brand new today. And it handles beautifully, drives beautifully. I couldn't be more happier with that car, and definitely not something you see every day.
No, not at all. Well, congrats on that. I'm sure you got some more big cars coming. We'll save that for another podcast. A little rapid fire here. Greatest car on the field today, but not yours.
I haven't made it around everywhere, but I'll have to say, I'm going to say I was very impressed with the Valhalla. It was my first time seeing that car. Having driven the Valkyrie, I'm really impressed with the Valhalla. I'll say that one. I'll pick the Valhalla. Yeah.
Best car you've ever driven, not owned?
Can it be a race car?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Porsche RSR, without a doubt.
Awesome.
Porsche RSR, mid-engine factory race car. The absolute, it's probably the greatest car I've ever driven. Yeah.
Street car wise, Porsche or Lamborghini?
Porsche.
Okay. Car from the collection you'd never part with?
Street car would be or my Carrera GT.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is Caffeine and Octane really about, in your opinion?
Community. Yeah, community. It's awesome being here from Atlanta, and you see every type of person, every age. I mean, there's kids in strollers, and there's, elderly, here with walkers,
Yeah.
right, and every age in between, and it's cool. Cars bring people together, and man, we are truly fortunate to have something like this in our backyard.
Yeah.
And the cars are great, but the people, and seeing all the smiles, and personally I love seeing kids smile
Yeah,
around
of course.
cars. Takes us all back. We were kids. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Ryan, thanks so much for coming out. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Appreciate it. It was
thanks
fun,
a bunch,
Grant.
man.
Yep,
We'll see you
thanks.
guys on the next one.